presentation on RMIT University's Sustainability Spaces. This is a virtual tour through RMIT University buildings, highlighting a range of sustainability features that have been implemented into the design of our spaces. We'll start off with an acknowledgement of country. RMIT University acknowledges the people of the Woiwurrung and Boonwurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nations, on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. RMIT University respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders, past and present. We also acknowledge the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the lands and waters across Australia where we conduct our business. And this slide as well, you'll note in the background, the image there is of a space on our city campus called Nagara Place. Nagara Place is an example of placemaking. It is a visible presence and recognition of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, cultures and histories. It physically provides a representation of the seasons of the Wurundjeri calendar shown through the segments of the circular design. It is a meeting place for all students and staff and also serves as a place to host ceremonies, gatherings and events. RMIT is leading the way in sustainability when it comes to providing great experiences for our students and staff through our life on campus, our sustainable buildings and various sustainability engagement activities throughout the years. We ensure we do this in a way where we are creating practical change on the way we do business at the university. Additionally, of course, we're ensuring we're always acting ethically through things like our investments, our procurement of goods and services, and overall governance, but ensuring also that the impacts that we're having in sustainability are beyond our boundaries, primarily through the education of our students, and the partnerships we enter into with those outside the university and the research we're undertaking as well. When it comes to sustainable buildings, RMIT's sustainability policy really guides us in how we undertake this. We're ensuring that in the built environment, we're exceeding wherever possible all legislation and regulatory requirements for sustainability and trying to achieve exemplary sustainability practice in all of our operations. We aim to utilise best practice sustainable design and innovative technologies to deliver efficient, resilient and adaptable buildings. What this means in practice is that we are ensuring that all of our buildings and design work aligns to a number of our key university strategic goals. We aim to be a carbon neutral organisation by 2030 to ensure that we are on a pathway to significant emissions reduction. We ensure sustainable design is implemented through our new buildings, whether this be through mechanisms such as Green Star or other environmental sustainable design initiatives, and ensuring that health and wellbeing is at the forefront of this process as well. These initiatives dovetail nicely with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In particular, we wanted to pull out and focus on number 3, good health and wellbeing. So the health and wellbeing of our students, our staff and our wider community. Sustainable cities and communities, acknowledging we have an important role to play in Melbourne and the broader Victorian community. Responsible consumption and production to ensure we are using resources appropriately and efficiently throughout our ongoing operation of our facilities. And of course, number 13, climate action, ensuring we're addressing climate change by reducing our emissions profile as an organisation as well. The university implements a range of different sustainable design principles. Sometimes these are guided through our large projects, through initiatives such as Green Star, but on the projects that are not targeting Green Star certification, we aim to implement a range of principles you'll see here. So ensure we're building tight and ventilating right, putting in high performance fabric insulation and facades, energy efficiency in our services design, ensuring our buildings are healthy, addressing circular materials and operational waste, sustainable transport choices for our occupants, but then mostly at the heart is ensuring that our people and their behaviours can be sustainable. So a quick example of a range of different initiatives we've implemented at RMIT over the previous years. So a few images here of our solar PV rollout. So we've now installed over 600 kilowatts of solar PV across our university. This is primarily up in the Carlton region. And so you've got a number of images there across our RMIT rooftops. One I do want to call out there in the top right-hand side is our design hub, where we've integrated solar PV into the facade elements as well. So this is a very, very interesting research piece. Large-scale energy efficiency. Over the last 4 or 5 years, the university has delivered a program called the Sustainable Urban Precincts Program. Now, this was a very exciting program. It was a $128 million investment into energy efficiency. It was the largest energy performance contract in the Southern Hemisphere. And for the university, that has delivered us over 30,000 tonne reduction in emissions every year. And those are locked in savings as well. Delivered by our partners at Siemens and Honeywell, and we've delivered a range of different solutions here, including on-site generation from a cogeneration plant in our city campus, a tri-generation plant at our Bundoora West campus, but also significant improvements to our central plant that sits behind the scenes and provides all the heating and cooling to a lot of our buildings. Upgrades to our building management systems, ensuring that these are able to operate efficiently, effectively, and can be optimized for ongoing use. LED lighting replacements as well. We went through our spaces and replaced over 40,000 light fittings with LED. Additional to this program was a range of different water harvesting initiatives, such as rainwater harvesting at our Bundoora campus and water efficiency initiatives across our fixtures and fittings. I mentioned earlier that the university guides a lot of our sustainable design initiatives through rating tools, such as the Green Star rating tool. RMIT has a range of different buildings across our campuses that have achieved various Green Star ratings. There's a quick snapshot of a few of the buildings here. So the rest of this presentation, I will look to give you a virtual tour through 4 spotlight Green Star ratings that we have achieved recently. So the first one today is the Swanston Academic Building, located up the top end of Swanston Street, and that achieved a 5-star Green Star Education Design rating. So going into the spaces, first space we start off in is a portal space on the ground floor. These portal spaces are a really great example of integrating the outside environment with the indoor environment. So these use mixed mode ventilation and provide that connection with the outside world while you are in the building. Through a range of initiatives implemented over the Swanston Academic Building, has a carbon intensity 35% lower than the average equivalent building through a range of initiatives that have been implemented, and I'll touch on those shortly. Jumping down into the basement, there are a range of different water tanks capturing water from the rooftop of the building. So we have an 80,000 litre rainwater tank that captures water which is used for irrigation and toilet flushing. And we also have grey water treatment, which uses approximately 8,000 litres of water for toilet flushing. So diverting our requirement for potable water use. Jumping into some of our large-scale lecture theatres. Lecture theatres are very interesting in the fact that we have the building management system connected to our timetabling system. So the provision of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning and will only occur if the space is booked and occupied. Lighting is also based. Lighting and shading is based on outside conditions and the occupancy levels in the space. You'll also see throughout this image we have underfloor air delivery systems as well that creates a much more efficient delivery of air conditioning right where our students are sitting. Going into the office spaces now, you'll notice we have a range of different shading elements external to the building and ensuring we have high performance glazing as well, allowing levels of natural daylight to penetrate through internal spaces. Down to the bike facility. The bike facility stores up to 80 bikes throughout the building. The timber used in this space is reused, post-consumer recycled and Forest Stewardship Council certified timber. Also here in the bike spaces, a portion of the cement used throughout the construction of the entire building was substituted with industrial waste products from the demolition of the on-site building previous. Now onto our second spotlight area, the new academic street. So for those of you familiar with RMIT's building portfolio, this is buildings 8, 10, 12 and 14. And this was a project to really turn the campus on its head and open up the external environment to the campus to make it a much more attractive place to work and study. This area was a 5-star Green Star Interiors, and it was one of the first to go through this program with the Green Building Council of Australia, and it was a pilot as part of this program. So a great example of one of the new entranceways into this space. So we use the existing structure, and you'll see that through the concrete beams throughout, to create new spaces or integrating significant light wells into these laneways, bringing natural light and fresh air right into the centre of the building. Similar to the portal spaces in the Swanston Academic Building, these spaces use mixed mode ventilation. When the conditions are right, we'll have fresh air flowing right through here. Up onto the balcony levels now. Range of different materials were obviously used for the fit out of these spaces. In line with the Green Star tool, we use low impact materials throughout. Sustainably sourced timber, as I mentioned, Forest Stewardship Council, as well as low volatile organic compound paints and Good Environmental Choice Australia rated furniture. Here's a quick example of some of the furniture used out in the balcony spaces. Up onto the rooftop gardens now. The rooftop gardens were extensively planted with species that were able to survive in urban and shaded environments. This is a really important point to note is when you're planting in rooftops here in the city, we are significantly surrounded by large apartment towers. Large apartment towers create shadows and often a lot of reflections. So we need to have plants that are hardy and able to cope with these varying light levels. These plants as well help to cool the campus during the hot summer months, especially in early starting of semester 1. You're able to find a lot of our staff and students up in these spaces. Into the heart of the building now. High efficiency glazing has been used throughout to reduce the solar glare and improve the thermal properties of the building while still maintaining that connection with the outdoor space. The garden building. The garden building is sort of the jewel in the crown of the city campus experience down Bowen Street. The garden building is a cross-laminate timber construction or CLT construction. It also uses mixed mode ventilation and has extensive planting throughout. The thing I want to highlight here with the cross-laminate timber construction, a lot of this is all prefabricated off-site. It really comes together almost like an IKEA construction kit, insofar that this building was actually able to be put up in a matter of weeks. It really was a sight to see. The third building I want to highlight today is our Francis Ormond building. Building 1 on our campus and home to the central administration of the university. This achieved a 5-star Green Star office design rating and was the second building, I understand, to achieve a 5-star Green Star design rating for a refurbishment of a heritage listed space. Similar to the other spaces, innovative glazing was used as well to reduce the solar gain while maintaining the penetration of daylight throughout the space using lighter coloured paints to reflect that lighting through. It included dynamic lighting control systems as well to ensure that there's no excessive lighting through the spaces. Really interesting with heritage buildings as well. We increased the building fabric thermal insulation with rooftop replacement works while maintaining the exterior look and feel of the building as well. So this is always a challenge with heritage listed buildings as to how to address the building fabric. So this was one area that we decided to focus on to improve that performance. Down into the courtyard now. Similar to the other buildings as well, rainwater harvesting was used. So this is captured off one of the major roof areas within the building. That is stored underground in a nearby courtyard, and that rainwater is then used for garden irrigation and toilet flushing throughout the building, again reducing the need for potable water use throughout the building. Into some of the meeting room spaces now. As well, low volatile organic compounds, paints, carpets, finishes were all used as well to ensure that we have a healthy environment for our students and staff. Couple of images here. New stairways were put throughout the building. This provided additional circulation space, encouraging our occupants to use active transport when getting between levels. And we also preserved existing heritage features, such as these amazing windows and archways that you can see throughout the building. The final space I want to put a spotlight on today is our new operations hub called Our Place. This also achieved a 5-star Green Star Interiors on the Vision 1.2 tool. The Our Place space was an area that brings together all of the operational staff across the university. So essentially all of those not directly involved in the learning, teaching and research sides of the university. So the Our Place facility is backed by 100% renewable energy through a large-scale power purchase arrangement for at least 10 years. Ensure that we have a one-to-one matching of large-scale generation certificates with every kilowatt hour of electricity used. Throughout the construction process, over 90% of our construction and demolition waste was diverted from landfill, done by the selection of appropriate contractors who put this at the front of what they were doing. We also collect 4 different waste streams in all areas within this building: landfill, commingled paper and cardboard, and organics. We also have dynamic lighting controls throughout the building as well to ensure that we're maximising the amount of natural daylight that comes into the space. There is extensive planting throughout the space as well to ensure that our occupants feel connected to nature, and this is part of our commitment to creating healthy buildings and focusing on the health and well-being of our occupants. RMIT's reconciliation plan was also used to drive the design of the Our Place facility. This was through design interaction with a number of key stakeholders throughout the university who helped to drive a range of different things such as the layout, colour selection, palette, and artwork that was chosen and implemented throughout the spaces. And finally, our students. Our students were also actively engaged throughout the design and construction project through our places and helped design some of the spaces you see on these images here. So thank you for joining me today in the virtual tour through our buildings. I want to highlight that if you want to learn more about our spaces and what RMIT is doing in the world of sustainability, we do release annual sustainability reports every year. These align to the Global Reporting Initiative and really highlight a range of different achievements that the university has made, but also some of the challenges. This is part of our commitment to transparency and balance as part of producing this report, and it's a significant supplement to the university's regular annual report. These are publicly available on our webpage, which you can visit at rmit.edu.au/sustainability. Once again, I'd like to thank you for joining me today, and I hope you've been able to learn something.